But what it suggests is that she may very well be fronting for someone, just to redirect the money so that it looks like it's going into her company, but actually it then is moved onward into someone else's coffers.
Mandla, a man mentioned at the Madlanga Commission to have been very close with Gareth Mnisi and Sergeant Nkosi, as well as has some relations with Joseph Sibanyoni. He has used his sister as a front to siphon over 90 million rands from the Tshwane municipality for water tankers. This is a story that was run by Times Live during the weekend to show us the more rot that has been happening in the city of Tshwane. We knew that last week and we saw at the Madlanga Commission how those officers were exposed. And also, is of paramount importance for you as a viewer to also note the allegations that have been making rounds that Joseph Sibanyoni is using Calvin Mahlangu as a fronter for Gubis 85, allegedly. So here we see a trend of a family using family members as fronting, and also using strangers so that they can siphon money from the municipality as much as they can. In this video, I wanted us to look at this particular article and the implication that it has on Sergeant Nkosi.
Now, it's interesting that he's been asked about Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni, and the importance of that is because as Tshwane CFO, as you recall, there are 3 companies that are deemed to have been, given a who were favored rather and preferred companies to be awarded those contracts. But in particular, Gubis 85, which on its website says it's owned by Calvin Mahlangu. There are allegations, however, that the owners of this company are fronting for the taxi boss Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni.
So last week we heard the testimonies at the Madlanga Commission regarding the Tshwane municipality corruption. And this started with Yolanda Faro, who came across as a lady who just failed to oversee the dealings that has been happening in the city of Tshwane. She did what people say Masemola did with the subs, and actually allowed the irregularities to happen, tenders, people do as they want in the city. First, more than anything, the biggest questions that she faced was the issue of what is she doing to change the system that is currently happening in the city of Tshwane. And she says that they're currently looking at the insourcing processes. But that's the thing. The insourcing processes seems like it's going to take years. It's going to take years for her to do. But one of the worrying things that were revealed is that the officers, not just the officers of the EMPD, but also these security companies are not vetted. The vetting process has not yet been created as yet. Hence, it's easy for people to just come and siphon money and take money, including the Triotic, which belongs to Eugene, who happens to be working for the municipality, but is still getting more money from the municipality through tenders of water tankers, of which we did discuss that, guys, in one of my videos. Please go and watch that particular episode if you're interested to understand what is going on with Triotic and the corruption that has been done by Eugene. So she says she failed with the vetting of the employees. What makes the matters worse is that she comes and she speaks about the fact that they would meet all the time and speak about the budget of the municipality, but still, they were still able to dribble her, even though she would have meetings constantly talking about these ad hoc services that have to be provided.
Commissioner, that is one of the things that we will have to sharpen up. I think we must be honest when we come to this commission. Maybe we have taken it for granted. This is one of the things that must be compulsory.
If that is what you think or believe, I mean, probably directing it towards what South Africans may think or perceive, we are of the honest view and believe that the Deputy Executive Mayor, who happens to be the regional chairperson of the ANC in Tshwane, would have acted as he would have taken us into confidence, would have acted ethically. If it happens that what we know, what we have been told, as you suspect, could have been the case, the ANC will have to pronounce its decision, because it does not help us if a jewel is in government and then utilizes his office to abuse the resources of the very state that should be directed towards the benefit of ordinary members of the public.
Okay.
Which, for me, I think it's one of the things that highlights her failure to prevent irregular, wasteful expenditures. And she failed to do so, even though, according to her, that is the responsibility of the CFO. But according to the Madlanga Commission, that is her responsibility, of which she highly failed to do. So I don't know if this lady was that ignorant of what is going on in the municipality or what is going on. And she says it was only Gareth Mnisi wanted these additional funds because they had a budget and the budget was not complied with. They wanted more money, or they then came and claimed for more money. And that's the thing. Who's authorizing these payments and who's allocating these people despite the fact that they've overspent or they've went above the expenditure or the budget that was placed? And from what we're hearing, it was Upiri. Piri is the one that actually allowed for this to happen. And one of the companies that benefited was Gubi's 85. It got the lion's share. And it got even the deployment letters. They were just having whatever that they wanted. But that's the thing. This lady comes and says she does not have patience for criminals in uniform. But that's the thing. She failed in her management and oversight responsibility in terms of the Municipal Management Act.
Sergeant Nkosi had no right to interfere in any procurement-related matters within the TMPD. He has no authority. He had no permission. I was not aware that he is busy interfering. I don't know Sergeant Nkosi. I never made contact with him. The first time I saw Sergeant Nkosi was on the Madlanga Commission. So I want to state it categorically. He had no authority to interfere in any TMPD procurement-related matters.
Are there other Sergeant Nkosis who are interfering in TMPD processes? We've only seen one so far. My worry is that could be the tip of the iceberg.
Commissioner Kumalo, if there's any other persons that is interfering or think of interfering when it comes to TMPD procurement issues, we will deal with them.
Has any politician or political party or somebody outside of the TMPD ever given you an instruction to support any service provider or to appoint any individual to a particular position? Have you, since you have been head of TMPD, ever received pressure from a political party or an outsider to make such appointments, whether they are HR related or procurement related?
None has approached me, Commissioner Kumalo, and I don't think they will.
It's so shocking and so worrying that there was just a lack of responsibility from her. She was obviously asked about the WhatsApp chats between Fannie Nkosi as well as the CFO, and she came across as someone that is very shocked, including MASHI DHLAMINI. She came across as someone who's shocked and doesn't even know what is going on. Everything is just happening in her space. And I think more than anything, one of the things that they've been blaming is that they've just been having a lot of work. And more than anything, it was the service level agreement that was signed by El Shaddai. And that was signed when she was on leave. But still, she didn't see it to herself to go and ask questions. So those are one of the things, or some of the things that get to show you that these people, I don't know if they were ignorant or they didn't care or what is going on, but their failure to take steps in time is what has put them in this particular trouble that they're in.
And you would be told that the agreements are ready for signature. I can't believe that when you're on leave, people can do as they please, and you come back and you say, well, because I was on leave, I wash my hands of what happened. You don't stop being chief of police because you're on leave.
Commissioner Kumalo, I'm not saying, I'm said that I did not sign this, and at that time, when I came back, I was briefed by Deputy Commissioner.
No, but the question is, did you see them before they were signed? I understand that they were signed. Because this is what happens with written agreements. They go back and forth because you get a document, it is typed, and people look at it to check that it complies with legal requirements, and the terms of the agreement are in accordance with the tender documents, and they generally reflect the services that are to be provided and fees that are to be paid. So the terms of the agreement. And that doesn't happen in a space of a month. There would be a back and forth with drafts being exchanged. The question that was put to you, was this presented to you? It may well be that on the date of signature by Spies, you were on leave and therefore you could not have signed. But it does not explain what happened before that. Were you aware that there were these draft agreements circulating, what they related to, and that at some point somebody from TMPD has to sign them?
Commissioner Kumalo, I have not seen the service level agreement before it was signed. No draft was sent to me. Nothing was sent to me to come back, to go through. I did not receive it. The only time is when I came back from my leave.
Before we can go to BOLHUIS' testimony, I wanted us to exhaust this one very quickly, where Yolanda Faro said that she's been targeted and that there was this campaign against her that was launched or advanced by the people in the municipality. But what she forgot to tell the commissioners is that there is a forensic report regarding this visit that she had in China and received these amounts of money. I think they said $450 or 450,000 rands, but she received monies from China, if I'm not mistaken.
Her. It relates to a trip to Sun City last February to attend Chinese New Year celebrations. The investigation found that Deputy TMPD Chief Nomsandlapo declared a gift of 46,000 rand. It was on behalf of all members of the department, including Faro. Earlier this week, Faro claimed there was a smear campaign against her as she fought corruption. She told the commission that the campaign included allegations that she had misrepresented her qualifications and that she had received 450,000 rand.
And everybody was talking about how this whole thing, it relates to SISISI THOLASHE. So SISISI THOLASHE is the Minister of Social Development. It's a very important portfolio, I must say, because it's the one that ensures that people have their grants, SASSA grants, and people have their monies. We've always had problems with SASSA, people that have been taking money, people that have been having ghost accounts to get the 350. There's just been a lot of things happening. But we hear now that the minister itself, she's corrupt herself, and she has been siphoning money from the municipality, making sure that her family is getting hired. Now we are hearing that there's 2 luxury cars that were given to her by these Chinese officials. And she said that these cars were just a donation to the Women's League, but she registered the cars in her children's name. But that's the thing. This is what the response of the ANC Women's League said regarding this whole donation.
Good morning, Clement, and how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Can you confirm, as the ANC Women's League, if you've received 2 donations of luxury vehicles from Chinese officials?
Nope.
And obviously, Ms. THOLASHE got the opportunity for her to respond to these allegations. And this is what she said.
SA taking me to court and so on and so on. Remember, the Secretary General of the Women's League was made to respond, and she assured the nation that when she's ready with the facts, she will come back to report. Whether I've misled Parliament, I guess that will be the business of Parliament to write back to me to say I would have misled it. For now, I've not received anything. I'm a member of Parliament before I become a minister. So I am accountable to Parliament, and I respect that. And at the moment, I've not received anything that suggests that I've misled Parliament. If it does, I will respectfully deal with that. I guess I will be called in to explain myself. I'm ready to do that. I'm a disciplined member of Parliament because my party sent me to go and represent it. So that will be my response on your question.
You had it? Okay.
The government and the president have failed to take actions against her. Even the president himself has failed because President Ramaphosa was asked regarding these actions of THOLASHE. This gets to show you the trail and how people are benefiting from using either they're using the China name or the Chinese are just doing some illegal stuff in South Africa using these particular ministers or these officials. Because even with this attender that was exposed recently of PPEs, it also involves China, that this person said he's going to bring equipment from China, but it just so happened that the equipment was just brought locally so that that person can siphon money during COVID-19. And that gets to show you the examples of what people are doing. And his name is Robert Gumede. He's one of the people that have been mentioned recently. The name of China is always used, thrown everywhere. It's the same thing as what is happening with this, that involves Russia and what is going on there with the people that are leaving South Africa to be going there to be soldiers and stuff. You get betrayed by the very people that are in BRICS. How can China betray South Africa like this? So disappointing and so worrying. I don't know what you guys think. Do you think, guys, it's the trend that is happening with these people siphoning money using China, or China is conducting some illegal activities in South Africa using these ministers that are always hungry for money, and also always using these officials in South Africa that will never be filled or will never have enough? And then obviously Bolhuis also came in, and Bolhuis also testified. He's also working at the municipality, focusing more on Lebohang Phiri and how he allocated sites to Gubis, even after they've said they should stop these ad hoc services. And that's the thing. There was no supervision, assets, there was no assets and protection. It was just a mixed masala. People were just doing what they wanted there. And that's the thing, even with Bolhuis, he was overworked. He had a lot of positions to occupy, acting here, doing his job here. So him being overworked and overoccupied didn't give enough time to ensure that these matters are properly attended to.
There was a disproportionate allocation to, for example, an entity called Gubis 85. I think it's a Pty Ltd, not a SISISI, yes. Gubis 85. Did you not notice that it got a disproportionate number of allocations compared to the rest of the entities? Its allocations were far higher than those of other entities. I'm asking this in the context of your testimony that on paper everything looked proper. That may well have been so, but it should have, or rather alarm bells should have rung when this entity's name keeps popping up whenever there are ad hoc allocations.
Thank you, Commissioner. Look, I did not, in the time that the invoices came to me for co-signing, I did not pick up anything immediately, and I didn't have any mistrust at that time. However, and I do give evidence about this later, when the director of MAS, Management Admin Support, Director Veli Nwandule, he's also responsible for finances, when he indicated that there could be some irregularity with invoices.
And that leads us to the testimony of TSUKUDU MALATSI. TSUKUDU MALATSI, the Director of Assets Protection Security Unit. This one is part of the bid evaluation process. And he told us about missing files and missing dockets, and how dockets were stored in the municipal room in a safe. And then after then, they were moved to another facility, and then these bids disappeared. But it just so happened that 3, only the one that involves Nkosi, Gareth Mnisi, and DHLAMINI, did not disappear. And also spoke about these deployment letters, right? And that 12 March 2025, he knew that sites added, there were new sites that were added to the ad hoc services. But what makes these matters worse is that there were ghost invoices, if you want to put it like that. Because Gubis came with invoices even after they've overspent.
The specific service provider, before it gets brought to my office to certify that indeed the services were rendered as per the allocation in question and so forth.
I guess what Mr. Skakane is testing with you is that it's possible, and I want to say probable, that some invoices were paid even though services were not rendered as reflected in that invoice, because you wouldn't know if monitoring doesn't happen as regularly or as agreed. Then you depend entirely on the service provider to say in their invoice, we did deploy our people as per the SLA. You depend on them because you have no way of verifying that at the time that you get the invoice. because your people didn't, due to capacity constraints, they were unable to go to that site.
I agree.
You must accept that.
I
that
accept,
you
Commissioner.
probably did pay some invoices when they should not have been paid.
Probably, yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Which shows that these people were given new allocations and services were rendered. But that's the thing. Another thing that I think I've heard, if I am not mistaken, is that these services were not rendered. I don't know if they were rendered or not. But what is so shocking about these deployment letters and the fact that sites were allocated is that they didn't follow the process. Due process was not followed. For example, the security assessment, which determines all this, but never took disciplinary steps on these particular officials, especially Lebohang Phiri, of which I can't wait for his testimony.
Fortunate that 800 million or so, a tender of that nature, would have been awarded in the light of these irregularities.
Yes, I agree.
If it was someone else, they could have said, oh my God, we've done a lot of mess. Let us investigate. Let us stop these ad hoc services. Instead, they didn't stop. Even after they were asked, stop all these ad hoc services, he made a justification that not all were unlawful, others were doing right. He was just trying to justify why he didn't stop the ad hoc services after they found that there were irregularities, the security assessments was not followed, but also after Rivo's Peace requested that these ad hoc services be ended, he still didn't follow those instructions. And that's the thing, they spent over 17 million per month on Triotic, the other company, I forgot the name, but also Gubis 85, because those were the ones that got the most share. Especially Gubis 85 got a lion's share. And that's the thing. Nothing was done. As I'm speaking to you guys, this person is currently on leave or on special leave and is still getting full benefits, but has the audacity to complain about the appointment of Rivo's Peace, saying that this appointment, it breaches the structures that we created. And says that the appointment of Spies made them to accommodate, created a certain structures that accommodated Spies. And said that he was supposed to be a divisional head of protection services, not the deputy chief of police. And according to Sira, there was no need for Sira's, according to Sira, he does not have the Sira certificate. But according to the commissioners, there was no need for the Sira certificate because he's a metropolitan. He's not a SAPS member. And he also questioned the qualifications of Rivo, and he was just saying that everything about Rivo, it seems like it was just created and the law was not properly followed.
Because we can contact Sira and ask them what the position is and they can clarify for us.
Commissioner, thanks very much.
Because it's like saying BOLHUIS should not have been acting in that position because he's not registered with Sira. That if you're a Metro Police, you don't need a Sira registration.
My understanding of what the law says, even though I'm not a lawyer, is as follows. The SIRA Act is very clear to the effect that if you are not registered as a security service provider, you should not be allowed to perform, supervise, or manage. It goes further to say, unless you are employed in security services as contemplated in Section 199 of the Constitution. And when one goes to Section 199 of the Constitution, the answer is very clear. Security services as contemplated in Section 199 of the Constitution, they are members of the South African Police Service. They are the National Defence Force. They are the state security agencies. The Act says they are, in terms of the law, they can perform, supervise, manage security operations only when they are still in the employ of their respective institutions. In this instance, I want to put my understanding before the Commission of this, that Metro Police officers are not members of the South African Police Service, right? Metro Police officers are not SNDF members as per Section 199, nor employees of the State Security Agency.
And all of this was just immaterial for me because I was like, okay, did he follow the proper procedure of employment? What went wrong? that you think might have made him, just because of the serious certificate, are all people that are part of this municipality having this serious certificate. You'll find that even MASHI DHLAMINI does not even have the certificate, but it doesn't challenge MASHI because MASHI is not a threat to them, and they are in unlawful conducts that they've been conducting at the city of Tshwane. And it's so worrying that this is the stance that this municipality has taken to question other things instead of focusing on the things that they've been doing. He was a member of the bid evaluation committee, and very, very strange and difficult to accept that he didn't even know about the litigation. Because remember that these people went and litigated against the municipality when they didn't get the tender, but according to this guy, he didn't know about the litigation. That gets to show you the cover up and the unlawful acts that come from these municipal members. More than anything, we hear about MASHI DHLAMINI, his testimony. Even though he started with his testimony in chief, there was just a lot of questions that came to my mind. He said he was not directly or indirectly involved in the allocation of tenders or assisting any companies that had a bid. But that's the thing. He assisted Ngapesheya and El Shaddai by providing services.
Whether I have any interest in or relationship with any of the following companies or close cooperation, whether directly or indirectly, or any other shareholders and directors. Kubis 85 Solution, I don't have any interest or relationship, whether directly or indirectly, with any of their shareholders or directors. Ngapesheya Construction and Project, I don't have any interest in the company directly or indirectly. However, I know Fannie Nkosi as a younger brother to Sergeant Nkosi. Cryotic Protection Services, I don't have any interest in the company or relationship directly or indirectly. 2COP Insecurity Services, I don't have any interest in the company or relationship directly or indirectly. Vimtsiri Security and Protection Services, I don't have any interest in the company or relationship directly or indirectly. El Shaddai Security Services, I don't have any interest in the company or relationship directly or indirectly. Any other bidder in this. Before you continue.
So MASHI denying his involvement in all of this has just raised a lot of eyebrows, especially since he says he's never met Likulela Mpho, who was an employee at the city, never communicated with MATLALA, Mandla, all of this, and has never met with Joseph Sibanyoni. All of this denying, I feel like it's just going to put him in a lot of trouble, because he says that he did not block any reports, because Uzrivo Spi says that he blocked reports regarding Opiri in misinformation given to the commission. He says that is what is currently going on.
I had to bring to the commission that I'm not sure whether that was misinformation given to the commission. No, it was a deliberate effort, perhaps to tarnish me in the commission, that I've blocked this report. I've attached an annexure.
It's on page 195.
Yes, I've attached that as an annexure to show that the report that it is alleged that I said with it for the entire year, it's not true and correct. Because Director Minares, it was indicated that he reports to me under internal affairs, and he came to me to indicate that, he was given a mandate by the Deputy Chief Spies to investigate the Inspector Piri around the deployment of ad hoc services. As a courtesy, because he reports to me, Deputy Chief Spies never came to me. He went direct to Director Minar. Director Minar, on 29 July 2025, he sent a report. He told me that this is the situation. I said, because you got an instruction, execute it nonetheless. And on 29 July, he sends a report to say, I'm done with the report. This is the report I'm forwarding to TCSPs. If you look at the report, it's on 1951. It's clearly addressed, to Deputy Chief of Police, APPU, to take note of the report.
And approached assistance for Ngapesheya with the tender documents, and this assistance was from someone. He's just denied relationship with literally everybody. And I think this is going to put him in a lot of trouble with his cross-examination. Then I wanted us to look at this testimony of Gareth Mnisi. So Gareth Mnisi is currently suspended, is the suspended Chief Financial Officer of the city of Tshwane, and is testified before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry on Friday, which was the 17th of April 2026. His testimony primarily addresses the allegations of tender rigging and is a close relationship with Sergeant Fannie Nkosi of the Gauteng organized crime. So here he addressed, I'll just look at some pointers that he addressed that I think are of importance to always note. Mnisi admitted to a close relationship with Sergeant Nkosi, stating that they socialized regularly due to shared interest in biking, sporting, shooting, and fine dining.
Business, financial, or any other association with Gubi's 85 Solutions Pty Ltd, or any of its directors or shareholders. 44, I have nor have I ever had any relationship with Ngapesheya Construction and Project CC, directly or indirectly. I further confirm that I have no interest in or relationship with any of the shareholders, directors, or representatives of the said entity. On 44, Chair, I confirm that I know that Sergeant Nkosi's brother is a director of Ngapesheya Construction and Projects. Notwithstanding that fact, I confirm that I have nor have I ever had any personal, business, financial, or other relationship with him or his company.
Nisi admitted to purchasing a gift for Nkosi, but denied that it was inducement or gratification. He framed it as a standard gesture between friends. He admitted to sending internal municipal documents to Nkosi via WhatsApp. These documents concerned a new policy to stop ad hoc security services, which had previously caused the city's budget to balloon. He also looked at the issues of tender manipulation. Nisi denied allegations that he used his position as CFO and chair of the bid adjudication committee to influence tenders in favor of Nkosi Association. Evidence that was presented to the Madlanga Commission shows that Nisi had forwarded tender information to Bheki Nkosi. Nisi countered this by claiming he was simply managing stakeholders' expectations and ensuring everybody understands the city's new internal control.
That Sergeant Nkosi informed me at some stage, whilst we were socializing, that his brother's company was finding it difficult to navigate within the city of Tshwane's procurement environment. He indicated to me that despite his brother's company being registered as a vendor within the city's supplier database system and being allocated a vendor number, for some reason he seldom received communication from a procurement nature, bulletins, requests for quotations from the city as he did in the past. Chairperson, I must also confirm that at this time the city was in the process of digitizing its supply chain management function through the implementation of SAP Ariba, which caused a lot of issues all around and was subject to many complaints at the time. My request was purely to ascertain whether his brother's vendor number had been correctly migrated and captured accordingly on the city's new SAP Ariba business network. At the time, Chair, there were numerous complaints received and raised by many suppliers who were having difficulty in engaging with the city's procurement process as a result of the change in or the implementation of new internal controls. These concerns were regularly brought to the attention of the relevant officials and myself, particularly during the transition of new SAP Ariba business network, with suppliers reporting challenges relating to vendor registration. I had no issue to assert, Chair, as I had assisted several other suppliers on previous occasions regarding the matter of this nature. I further, for the benefit of the Commission, need to briefly explain what SAP Ariba is and what benefit it brings to the city. SAP Ariba is a procurement platform which assists organizations in managing, sourcing, purchasing, suppliers, contracts, invoicing, payments in a one connected system. It links buyers and suppliers through SAP Business Network. I have not received any payment or benefit either directly or indirectly from Sergeant Nkosi. I further confirm that I have not received any payment or benefit from a third party from Sergeant Nkosi. I do, however, wish to state on a few occasions Sergeant Nkosi accompanied me to meetings or gatherings in instances where I might have felt unsafe or vulnerable purely as a friend.
When confronted with WhatsApp messages suggesting that trio, which is Mnisi, Nkosi and MASHI DHLAMINI, needed to regroup regarding a tender for fuse bags, Mnisi maintained that his actions were procedural rather than criminal. The Commission's evidence leaders questioned Mnisi on how his lavish lifestyle, reportedly including a fleet of luxury vehicles, Porsche, Range Rovers, Maseratis, and properties valued at 36 million, aligned with his monthly salary of 124,000 rands. Mnisi's defense was that his wealth, echoing sentiments from his recent divorce proceedings, where he reportedly kept his card close to his chest regarding the source of his assets.
Point that the other witness made was the result of this delay is that the previous tender or the award, which has already expired, then has to be extended. And if you are spending 800 million a year people whose awards have expired. You're now appointing them on a month-to-month basis for a period of a year, and you're spending 800 million that you should not have spent on them. So you're not only influencing the new tender, you're also influencing the old one, because if those who were appointed under the old tender would not have qualified under the new one, the effect is that they get an extension of a year. So there are those issues.
Chairperson, precisely our concern. It's a potential expenditure of 800 million. And were we to proceed with an award without this necessary assurance exercise, we'd be doing injustice. You'll take note that on the instance that we are referring to, I think it's TMPD 2 on 2016, that process was deemed irregular, Chair. And had this exercise been brought on board, it could have been easily avoided at that time. So we're always encouraging all departments to ensure proper planning until a point in time where we are able to have the digital systems on board to curb this where there's certainty. At this point, Chair, this is such an essential exercise. The city was sitting with irregular expenditure almost with 18 billion rand. The situation I, as the Chief Financial Officer, as well as the city manager, couldn't afford for this to continue.
So Mnisi's testimony follows his precautionary suspension on April 15, 2026, which was triggered by the early testimony of Fannie Nkosi. His testimony, I'm not going to lie, people have thought, you know what, he's very much good articulate. And, sometimes you just have to give it to people. If someone is good and they can articulate themselves very well, they're good. Not that you're saying that you're exonerating them from the crime, but he's really articulated himself well. But because, guys, it was just examination in chief, it's not easy for us to really scrutinize and challenge him that much because the cross-examination is coming. That is where the inconsistencies, someone will start changing the stories, everything is when it's going to happen. But tomorrow he's continuing with this cross-examination, and I can't wait to see how that goes. But so far, it looks like man knows what he's doing. The question still remains, how did he get to dealings with Fannie Nkosi, all these people that he's been dealing with? And, the wealth, in as much as saying that it's because of the divorce, but all of this has made people to ask themselves, how can a man who seems well educated behave like this? Because I even saw on one of the reporters that reported on the story on how this man is rich, spoke about the fact that there was an audit on his life that was conducted and he didn't find anything suspicious. This is the reporter. This is the tweet that he wrote. So it's hard for one to say that this man is guilty or not guilty because of that particular situation. Of which is what is going to lead us with the next topic, because remember that Nkosi has relationships with MASHI as well as Gareth. But now we're hearing from this particular article from Times Live. And this is what the editors have said. I know it's quite a 5-minute video, but very much informative and worth it for you to listen to.
Well, Sipho, let's start with you. I mean, the story came to you, and we have been chatting about this issue with Mike over the past couple of weeks. But this particular story and this particular woman, how were you led there?
So, good morning, Iveka. What led me to Miss Eunice Nontobeko Mkonza is a spreadsheet of water tanker expenditure in Tshwane. The spreadsheet has got a number of companies, a list of companies that the municipality paid for tanking water during the 2024 and 2025 financial years. So it's just basically a spreadsheet with lots of numbers. So I literally I had to start counting. I mean, it doesn't even say, when you look at the spreadsheet, it doesn't even say that this lady was paid 95 million. It's just got a series of payments, many payments, and I had to sit down and do a calculation and arrive at the 90 million and started looking at these people that got paid so much amount of money. I mean, who is this person that was paid 95 million rand? As an investigative journalist, I started doing an investigation.
And an accountant now as well, looking at all the spreadsheets. I also believe that, her brother is involved, and this also coming out at the Madlanga Commission.
Yes. Somebody has alleged we have not proven this. It's a claim that someone has made that this person, Nontobeko Mkhonza, that her brother Mandla MGCINA, their siblings and Mandla MGCINA are siblings, and Mandla MGCINA was mentioned at the Madlanga Commission a couple of weeks ago when evidence leader Arthur Chaskalson was grilling police agent Fannie Nkosi about conversations that happened between Tshwane CFO Gareth Mnisi and Fannie Nkosi. Mandla's name was dropped there, and Matthew Chaskalson asked Fannie Nkosi if he knows this guy, and then Fannie Nkosi said, yes, I know the guy from Soshanguve, and it just happens that he's also the nephew of taxi boss.
So where there's smoke, there's definitely fire. And Mike, I mean, we've been chatting about the water tanker issue over all of this time. I mean, the fact that she lives in an RDP house. Have we seen? I mean, we've seen a lot of people flaunt what in our conversations we spoke about how they were caught by flaunting suddenly being millionaires and having all of this money. This particular woman is still living in the RDP house, or she bought like a 3-story mansion.
Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, if you look in the story, that Sipho is so brilliantly put together. If you profile the woman, if you take the 95 million rand and you profile her lifestyle, she's got a child apparently who goes to a no-fee school in the township. She lives in an RGP house, and apparently she drives a beat-up Polo. So she's not your archetypal kind of tenderpreneur, with lots of Maseratis, etc.
Which begs the question, is she seeing any of the money, or where's it going?
But what it suggests is that she may very well be fronting for someone, just to redirect the money so that it looks like it's going into her company, but actually it then is moved on into someone else's coffers.
I mean, I haven't read the entire article. It's quite lengthy. You go into quite a bit of detail, like you say, Sipho. You have to do a lot of digging and looking around here. But I mean, are we sure that she's even aware that her name is being used? Has she been actively involved in this fraud? Yeah, what do we call it? Corruption, fraud.
We really can't say for sure that we know.
Was she aware?
If she's aware of what's going on, but I mean, I don't know how. Because I mean, the company says it's registered to her address, and I would assume that also the account, the bank account, she's got control of the bank account. I mean, when you open up a company, you also have to go to a bank and open up a bank account. So in a way, she must be aware what's happening. Maybe she's probably she's not aware how much money is coming into this account, but I can't see how she's completely in the dark and does not know what's going on.
But the indicator there, is that she and MGCINA once were partners in another company.
Okay, so
they are not like random. It's not a random connection.
It's not a random
prior business interaction.
So I suppose if your brother comes to you and says, "Listen, I need you to sign this document," you're going to do it, right? You're probably not going to ask a lot of questions. That's if her brother if those allegations prove.
That's if it's true. I mean that they're siblings, but she may not have the full details of basically what's happening or how much money was spent into this account, but she's got an idea that the alleged brother is what the alleged brother is doing.
Okay, well,
so you might be asking yourself, who is Mandla MGCINA? So Mandla MGCINA had calls with Nkosi and also called Gareth Mnisi. And this is what was discussed regarding Mandla MGCINA at the Madlanga Commission, especially his relationship with Joseph Sibanyoni, the taxi industry, and how now he's using the sister as a front to get tenders with the municipality.
That shows 3 calls from Mandla MGCINA. Who is Mandla MGCINA?
Is someone I know from Soshanguve.
Is he a nephew of Mr. Sibanyoni?
That's correct.
Is he associated with Gubis?
I don't know.
I see. Let's go down to page 181. and we see the CFO forwards you another call log where missed calls from Mandla MGCINA are circled. You see it goes over to 182. And you send some laughing emojis saying he's looking for you. I want to put to you that what's happening in this case is that the General has had a meeting with Mr. MGCINA in relation to Gubis. He said, don't speak to me, speak to the CFO. The CFO has then approved of that course, and now Mr. MGCINA is desperately trying on behalf of Gubis to get hold of the CFO. That's what we're seeing. I put it that to you, that's what we're seeing. You want to comment on that?
I would not comment on the missed calls of the CFO.
So you're not denying what I'm saying is correct, you're just saying you can't confirm it.
I'm not going to comment on the missed calls of the CFO.
But you did comment at the time. You sent 4 laughing emojis and the message, he's looking for you.
I'm saying I'm not going to comment on what you said earlier, that the General has turned down Mr. MGCINA. Now Mr. MGCINA is frustrated. He's calling the CFO, and the CFO don't answer his phone.
I think more than anything, guys, what makes this whole thing worrying is that this lady is poor. And we know that it is the business of Fannie Nkosi, MATLALA, by using people as fronts. Even MATLALA used his sister as a front, and high chances MATLALA himself was a front when he got the subs tender.
After you wanted to save the image of the company, you put your sister as a director so that you can front her. Because you didn't relinquish for business reasons. You relinquished because you want to face some challenges, and someone must be holding the fort for me. Well, I'm still fighting, but effectively I'm running it. I can call money on it. She can't say anything. I can tell her to do this. It's effectively you doing it. She's just a front.
Yes, I agree. Sister, so it's not like I was using her. So she's family, and then it was only for the time being until I claim myself. I claim my name.
No, once you are fronting a person, you are using a person. You just agreed with me that you are fronting her. You are using her.
But she was getting salary.
Yeah, even if she's getting a salary, she's not the owner of the company. You are using her.
But she was getting salary.
Yeah, even if she's getting a salary, she's not the owner of the company. That's what you did. And in the empowerment of women, it defeats the whole purpose, because if she walks around with the image of a person who has got a tender of 360 million and therefore does not need any kind of empowerment or an assistance, because she's got all this tender to herself.
So fronting is the business of the day when it comes to tenders. That's how these people get tenders, because you can't be the one who's repeatedly getting tenders. It will easily be traceable. But if you get someone who seems innocent, different, and has a different surname, there's nothing that links you guys straight, it's easy for you to get these tenders. It shows how these people have been siphoning money from the municipality. Gareth Mnisi as well was asked about his relationship with Mandla MGCINA. And this is how he described their relationship.
Informed that I did meet Mr. Mandla MGCINA, and I was introduced to him by Sergeant Nkosi. The introduction happened in a social setting, Chair, and from my, I think, view, was entirely coincidental. On that occasion, Sergeant Nkosi had suggested that we go to a restaurant better known as Wamaimai, which is known for serving a variety of traditional style street food. Sergeant Nkosi and the gentleman, coincidentally, according to my observation, encountered each other at the restaurant, and Sergeant Nkosi obviously knew him. He then moved forward to introduce me to him. My interaction with Mr. MGCINA was limited to being introduced to him, where we briefly exchanged pleasantries. There was no prior arrangement to meet up with him. During these exchange of pleasantries, he asked me for my contact details, which I provided him. I also saved his numbers on my phone list. Notwithstanding the fact that I met Mr. Mandla as aforesaid, I reiterate that no meeting, engagement, or interaction of any nature ever took place between myself and Mr. Mandla to his or another's intervention.
According to me, I'm not gonna lie, their relationship to me is questionable, because just the coincidence that the sister of this person is used as a front, got a tender, the uncle or whatever, Joseph Sibanyoni, is fronting as well, has a tender. These people have some relations with the city of Tshwane somewhere, somehow, and you just met at my mind, nothing deep. It's just that shallow. Begs a lot of questions more than anything. I also wanted to draw your attention to another issue that we discussed at the Madlanga Commission, which is the issue of the mama. The mama issue was heavily discussed at the Madlanga Commission, and Shadrack Sibia denied that he knows the mama issue. But Nkosi explained the mama issue. I said it was someone who was employed by Shadrack Sibia and wanted a job. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it doesn't make sense to me why Sibia would hide the fact that the person that was once working for him was looking for a job and Nkosi was assisting with that. I feel like the reason why Nkosi didn't, Shadrack Sibia didn't answer that is because he was definitely gonna provide a contradicting statement from what Nkosi told us. From what we heard from Nkosi, actually, the mama issue is the one that I've just played the clip regarding Shadrack Sibia and the lady that was working for him.
And that she had lost her contract in the security business, correct? And General Sibia had asked you to see if you cannot find work for her, employment for her.
That's correct.
And when you say you are meeting with Mtagati and others about the mama issue, that's what you were meeting them about. You were trying to find out if they cannot get employment for her.
That's correct.
It has not been clear. Could it be that this is the mama issue that we're talking about? Using women, certain poor women, to siphon money from the municipality and getting these tenders from the municipality. Because the water tanker issue has always been something that we've discussed in this channel and a problem in the municipality, because even Triotic and Eugene Mudise, part of the people that have benefited from this thing called water tankers, as per what the DA did. And I've said, I've covered this particular video in one of my videos. Please go, guys, watch that particular episode where we discuss the water tankers issue and how Eugene has benefited from that. Now we're seeing this new element, this lady used as a front, poor lady who stays in an RDP house. She stays with her child there, but the brother is using her as a front to get money from the tenders. And it just so happens, coincidentally, that this person is also linked to Gareth Mnisi and Nkosi. We know that these two individuals have been siphoning a lot of money from the municipalities through these tenders and these companies that are belonging to their relatives and the imamas, like this mama issue that we are currently talking about. I don't know what you guys think about all these developments. I don't know what you guys think about this particular case and the corruption that is happening in the city of Tshwane, because it does not end. I don't know what you guys think. Please comment your thoughts. I'll see you guys on my next upload. Bye.